Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Cause to be returned. Recall the defective auto tires. Recall knowledge from memory. Have a recollection. Call to mind. Go back to something earlier. Summon to return. The ambassador was recalled to his country. The process of remembering, especially the process of recovering information by mental effort. He has total recall of the episode. A request by the manufacturer of a defective product to return the product, as for replacement or repair. A bugle call that signals troops to return. A call to return. The recall of our ambassador. Cause one's, or someone else's, thoughts or attention to return from a reverie or digression. She was recalled by a loud laugh. Make unavailable. Bar from sale or distribution. The company recalled the product when it was found to be faulty. The act of removing an official by petition. Cause to be returned. The manufacturer tried to call back the spoilt yogurt. Recall knowledge from memory. Have a recollection. Summon to return. Return or repeat a telephone call. I am busy right now. Can you call back in an hour? Pay a brief visit. Cause to be returned. Demand payment of a loan. Make a phone call. Call in to a radio station. Summon to a particular activity or employment. Summon to enter. Take a player out of a game in order to exchange for another player. Break from a meeting or gathering. Remove something concrete, as by lifting, pushing, or taking off, or remove something abstract. This machine withdraws heat from the environment. Cause to be returned. Lose interest. Retire gracefully. Pull back or move away or backward. Keep away from others. Take back what one has said. Make a retreat from an earlier commitment or activity. Withdraw from active participation. Release from something that holds fast, connects, or entangles. Remove a commodity from a supply source. Recall knowledge from memory. Have a recollection. Call up memories. Bring forward for consideration. Call to arms of military personnel. Get or try to get into communication with someone by telephone. Cause to become available for use, either literally or figuratively. An order to report for military duty. Recall knowledge from memory. Have a recollection. Keep in mind for attention or consideration. Recall knowledge from memory. Have a recollection. I can't remember saying any such thing. Mention as by way of greeting or to indicate friendship. Call to remembrance. Keep alive the memory of someone or something, as in a ceremony. We remembered the 50th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz. Recapture the past. Indulge in memories. He remembered how he used to pick flowers. Exercise, or have the power of, memory. After the shelling, many people lost the ability to remember. Mention favorably, as in prayer. Remember me in your prayers. Show appreciation to. He remembered her in his will. Recall knowledge from memory. Have a recollection. Get or find back. Recover the use of. Go for and bring back. Retrieve the car from the parking garage. Run after, pick up, and bring to the master. Train the dog to retrieve. Judge or regard. Look upon, judge. I think he is very smart. Recall knowledge from memory. Have a recollection. I can't think what her last name was. Have in mind as a purpose. She didn't think to harm me. Expect, believe, or suppose. He didn't think to find her in the kitchen. Use or exercise the mind or one's power of reason in order to make inferences, decisions, or arrive at a solution or judgments. I've been thinking all day and getting nowhere. An instance of deliberate thinking. I need to give it a good think. Bring into a given condition by mental preoccupation. Decide by pondering, reasoning, or reflecting. Can you think what to do next? Dispose the mind in a certain way. Do you really think so? Focus one's attention on a certain state. Think thin. Have or formulate in the mind. Think good thoughts. Imagine or visualize. Just think you could be rich one day. Ponder, reflect on, or reason about. Be capable of conscious thought. Man is the only creature that thinks. Ring or echo with sound. Call to mind. His words echoed John F. Kennedy. To say again or imitate. Followers echoing the cries of their leaders. The repetition of a sound resulting from reflection of the sound waves. She could hear echoes of her own footsteps. A close parallel of a feeling, idea, style, etc. His contention contains more than an echo of Rousseau. An imitation or repetition. The flower arrangement was created as an echo of a client's still life. A reflected television or radio or radar beam. A reply that repeats what has just been said. Greek mythology. A nymph who was spurned by Narcissus and pined away until only her voice remained. Be restored. Go back to something earlier. Answer back. Even the score, in sports. Go back to something earlier. The income or profit arising from such transactions as the sale of land or other property. The average return was about 5%. The key on electric typewriters or computer keyboards that causes a carriage return and a line feed. Document giving the tax collector information about the taxpayer's tax liability. His gross income was enough that he had to file a tax return. Go back to a previous state. Elect again. A coming to or returning home. On his return from Australia, we gave him a welcoming party. Happening again, especially at regular intervals. The return of spring. Be restored. Her old vigor returned. Give or supply. Pass down. Pay back. Go back to something earlier. Getting something back again. Bring back to the point of departure. The act of someone appearing again. Answer back. Give back. A quick reply to a question or remark, especially a witty or critical one. Be inherited by. The land returned to the family. The occurrence of a change in direction back in the opposite direction. A reciprocal group action. In return, we gave them as good as we got. American football. The act of running back the ball after a kickoff or punt or interception or fumble. A tennis stroke that sends the ball back to the other player. He won the point on a cross-court return. Go or come back to place, condition, or activity where one has been before. Return to your native land. Make a return. Return a kickback. Return in kind. Return a compliment. Return to a previous position, in mathematics. The point returned to the interior of the figure. Submit, a report, etc., to someone in authority. The act of going back to a prior location. They set out on their return to the base camp. The ability to recall past occurrences. The process of remembering, especially the process of recovering information by mental effort. Something recalled to the mind. The process of remembering, especially the process of recovering information by mental effort. A mental impression retained and recalled from the past. A request by the manufacturer of a defective product to return the product, as for replacement or repair. The income or profit arising from such transactions as the sale of land or other property. Be capable of holding or containing. This box won't take all the items. Remove something concrete, as by lifting, pushing, or taking off, or remove something abstract. Take the gun from your pocket. Serve oneself to, or consume regularly. I don't take sugar in my coffee. Make a film or photograph of something. Take a scene. Be designed to hold or take. This surface will not take the die. Require, time or space. Take somebody somewhere. Can you take me to the main entrance? Have sex with. Archaic use. He had taken this woman when she was most vulnerable. Have with oneself. Have on one's person. She always takes an umbrella. Receive or obtain regularly. We take the Times every day. Admit into a group or community. Head into a specified direction. Pick out, select, or choose from a number of alternatives. Take into consideration for exemplifying purposes. Assume, as of positions or roles. Interpret something in a certain way. Convey a particular meaning or impression. How should I take this message? Lay claim to, as of an idea. Accept or undergo, often unwillingly. Make use of or accept for some purpose. Take a risk. Take something or somebody with oneself somewhere. Engage for service under a term of contract. Shall we take a guide in Rome? Be stricken by an illness, fall victim to an illness. Take on a certain form, attribute, or aspect. Take as an undesirable consequence of some event or state of affairs. Get into one's hands, take physically. Can you take this bag, please? Require is useful, just, or proper. It takes nerve to do what she did. Occupy or take on. Receive willingly something given or offered. Be a student of a certain subject. Proceed along in a vehicle. Point or cause to go, blows, weapons, or objects such as photographic equipment, towards. Ascertain or determine by measuring, computing or take a reading from a dial. Take a pulse. Be seized or affected in a specified way. Take sick. Buy, select. I'll take a pound of that sausage. Carry out. Take action. Experience or feel or submit to. Obtain by winning. Winner takes all. Take by force. Take into one's possession. I'll take 3 salmon steaks. The act of photographing a scene or part of a scene without interruption. Travel or go by means of a certain kind of transportation, or a certain route. He takes the bus to work. Appear like. Be similar or bear a likeness to. She resembles her mother very much. Have as a meaning. Multi, denotes, many. Make known. Make an announcement. She denoted her feelings clearly. Be a sign or indication of. Her smile denoted that she agreed. Be relevant to. There were lots of questions referring to her talk. Seek information from. Refer to your notes. Have as a meaning. Make reference to. Send or direct for treatment, information, or a decision. Refer a patient to a specialist. Think of, regard, or classify under a subsuming principle or with a general group or in relation to another. This plant can be referred to a known species. Use a name to designate. Christians refer to the mother of Jesus as the Virgin Mary. Assign a specified, usually proper name to. Make a prediction about. Tell in advance. Order, request, or command to come. She was called into the director's office. Utter a sudden loud cry. Pay a brief visit. The mayor likes to call on some of the prominent citizens. The option to buy a given stock, or stock index or commodity future, at a given price before a given date. A demand by a broker that a customer deposit enough to bring his margin up to the minimum requirement. A demand especially in the phrase. The call of duty. A telephone connection. She reported several anonymous calls. A loud utterance, often in protest or opposition. Greet, as with a prescribed form, title, or name. She calls him by first name. Demand payment of, a loan. Give the calls to the dancers for a square dance. Get or try to get into communication with someone by telephone. I tried to call you all night. The characteristic sound produced by a bird. Make a demand, as for a card or a suit or a show of hands. He called his trump. A brief social visit. Senior professors' wives no longer make afternoon calls on newcomers. A demand for a show of hands in a card game. After 2 raises there was a call. An instruction that interrupts the program being executed. Pascal performs calls by simply giving the name of the routine to be executed. A request. Many calls for Christmas stories. Ascribe a quality to or give a name of a common noun that reflects a quality. He called me a bastard. A special disposition, as if from a divine source, to pursue a particular course. A visit in an official or professional capacity. The pastor's calls on his parishioners. Call a meeting. Invite or command to meet. The 1C conference was called to discuss the final solution. Challenge somebody to make good on a statement, charge with or censure for an offense. He deserves to be called on that. Challenge the sincerity or truthfulness of. Call the speaker on a question of fact. Consider or regard as being. I would not call her beautiful. Declare in the capacity of an umpire or referee. Call a runner out. Indicate a decision in regard to. Call balls and strikes behind the plate. Lure by imitating the characteristic call of an animal. Make a stop in a harbor. The ship will call in Honolulu tomorrow. Order or request or give a command for. The unions called a general strike for Sunday. Order, summon, or request for a specific duty or activity, work, role. He was already called 4 times for jury duty. Read aloud to check for omissions or absentees. Require the presentation of for redemption before maturation. Rouse somebody from sleep with a call. I was called at 5 a.m. this morning. Send a message or attempt to reach someone by radio, phone, etc. Make a signal in order to transmit a message. Hawaii is calling. Sports, the decision made by an umpire or referee. He was ejected for protesting the call. Stop or postpone because of adverse conditions, such as bad weather. Call a football game. Utter a characteristic note or cry. Blue jays called to one another. Utter in a loud voice or announce. He called my name. Order, request, or command to come. The cognitive processes whereby past experience is remembered. He enjoyed remembering his father. The power of retaining and recalling past experience. He had a good memory when he was younger. An electronic memory device. A memory and the CPU form the central part of a computer to which peripherals are attached. The cognitive processes whereby past experience is remembered. He can do it from memory. Something that is remembered. Search as he would, the memory was lost. The area of cognitive psychology that studies memory processes. He taught a graduate course on learning and memory. Express the need or desire for. She requested an extra bed in her room. The verbal act of requesting. A formal message requesting something that is submitted to an authority. Ask a person to do something. I requested that she type the entire manuscript. Inquire for information. I requested information from the secretary. The verbal act of requesting. A signal broadcast by the sound of a bugle. A building dedicated to a particular activity. The object upon which interest and attention focuses. Direct one's attention on something. Move into the center. A cluster of nerve cells governing a specific bodily process. The sweet central portion of a piece of candy that is enclosed in chocolate or some other covering. A place where some particular activity is concentrated. A point equidistant from the ends of a line or the extremities of a figure. An area that is approximately central within some larger region. The choicest or most essential or most vital part of some idea or experience. A low-lying region in central France. A building dedicated to a particular activity. They were raising money to build a new center for research. The object upon which interest and attention focuses. His stories made him the center of the party. Direct one's attention on something. Move into the center. That vase in the picture is not centered. A cluster of nerve cells governing a specific bodily process. In most people, the speech center is in the left hemisphere. The sweet central portion of a piece of candy that is enclosed in chocolate or some other covering. Mercantile establishment consisting of a carefully landscaped complex of shops representing leading merchandisers. Usually includes restaurants and a convenient parking area. A modern version of the traditional marketplace. Equally distant from the extremes. A place where some particular activity is concentrated. They received messages from several centers. Football. The person who plays center on the line of scrimmage and snaps the ball to the quarterback. The center fumbled the handoff. A point equidistant from the ends of a line or the extremities of a figure. An area that is approximately central within some larger region. It is in the center of town. Center upon. Her entire attention centered on her children. The choicest or most essential or most vital part of some idea or experience. The piece of ground in the outfield directly ahead of the catcher. He hit the ball to deep center. American football. The position of the player on the line of scrimmage who puts the ball in play. It is a center's responsibility to get the football to the quarterback. A position on a basketball team of the player who participates in the jump that starts the game. Basketball. The person who plays center on a basketball team. Ice hockey. The person who plays center on a hockey team. Of or belonging to neither the right nor the left politically or intellectually. Politically moderate persons, centrists. The middle of a military or naval formation. They had to reinforce the center. The position on a hockey team of the player who participates in the face-off at the beginning of the game. Direct one's attention on something. Ornament consisting of a circular rounded protuberance, as on a vault or shield or belt. Fasten with a rivet or rivets. Heavy pin having a head at one end and the other end being hammered flat after being passed through holes in the pieces that are fastened together. Hold someone's attention. The discovery of the skull riveted the paleontologists. Make more concise. Direct one's attention on something. Be cooked until very little liquid is left. Make central. Compress or concentrate. Cook until very little liquid is left. The desired mineral that is left after impurities have been removed from mind or. A concentrated example of something. The concentrate of contemporary despair. A concentrated form of a foodstuff. The bulk is reduced by removing water. Draw together or meet in one common center. These groups concentrate in the inner cities. Make denser, stronger, or purer. Concentrate juice.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.